Commander Lisa Maxwell stared at the large screen in Earth Defense Force headquarters, her coffee growing cold beside her keyboard. The image showed dozens of unknown objects moving toward Earth, far too fast to be natural phenomena. Her heart beat faster as she realized what this meant. Humanity was no longer alone. "Get me Dr. Franklin on the line," she ordered, her voice steady despite her racing thoughts. The young communications officer nodded and began the call. Within moments, Dr. Peter Franklin's tired face appeared on the screen. His usually neat brown hair was messy, and dark circles under his eyes showed he had been working late again. "Commander Maxwell, I assume this is about our visitors," he asked, pushing his glasses up his nose. Behind him, screens filled with complex equations glowed in his dimly lit lab. "Yes. How's our special project coming along?" she asked. They both knew she meant the quantum AI system he had been developing in secret for the past 5 years. "Ahead of schedule, actually. But I'm not sure if it's ready for—" His words were cut short as every screen in the command center suddenly lit up with a bright purple light. A deep voice filled the room, speaking perfect English. "People of Earth, this is High Commander Zex Thrax of the Galactic Council. Your planet has been monitored for the past 100 years. We have decided you are now ready for integration into our civilization. Surrender your weapons and prepare for peaceful occupation." Lisa's jaw tightened. "Peaceful occupation? That's a contradiction if I ever heard one," she muttered. Around her, other officers watched with a mixture of fear and anger as similar messages played on every electronic device across the planet. Dr. Franklin's voice came through her private channel. "Lisa, give me 2 hours. I think it's time we showed them what human innovation can do." She nodded. "You have 1 hour, Peter. I don't think they'll wait much longer than that." The next 60 minutes were the longest of Lisa's life. Reports flooded in from around the world. The alien ships had positioned themselves in a perfect grid pattern above every major city. Their technology was unlike anything humans had ever seen. Ships that seemed to bend light around them, energy readings that defied physics as they knew it. But Dr. Franklin had been preparing for something like this. In his underground lab at the Quantum Computing Division, he and his team had created something revolutionary, an artificial intelligence system that used quantum computing in ways that even they didn't fully understand yet. Amy Martinez, their chief engineer, rushed into the command center with a small device in her hands. "Commander, Dr. Franklin sent me with the prototype. He says to plug it into the main defense grid immediately." Lisa took the device. It was surprisingly small for something that might save humanity. "Will this really work against their technology?" Amy's confident smile was reassuring. "Ma'am, what we've built isn't just advanced technology. It's something that learns and adapts faster than anything in existence. The aliens won't know what hit them." As they connected the device to Earth's defense systems, the alien commander's voice boomed again. "Your time for peaceful surrender has expired. We will now begin the integration process. Resistance will only lead to unnecessary losses." Lisa stood up straight, her voice clear as she addressed her staff. "Send this message to all Earth Defense Forces. Do not engage unless directly attacked. Let them make the first move." She turned to Amy. "Is the system online?" "Yes, ma'am. The AI is already analyzing their communication patterns and technology. Dr. Franklin calls it Nexus, by the way." The first alien ship fired what looked like a purple energy beam at a military base in the desert. But before it could hit, something extraordinary happened. A shield of pure energy appeared, deflecting the beam harmlessly into space. The aliens hadn't expected that. "Impossible." The alien commander's voice showed surprise for the first time. "Your species does not possess this level of technology." Lisa allowed herself a small smile. "This is Commander Maxwell of the Earth Defense Force. You seem to have underestimated us. We recommend you reconsider your position." But the aliens didn't back down. Instead, they launched a full attack. Energy beams and strange weapons fired at Earth from all directions. Each time, Nexus adapted, creating new defenses faster than the aliens could develop new attacks. In his lab, Dr. Franklin watched in amazement as his creation exceeded all expectations. The AI wasn't just defending. It was learning, evolving, understanding alien technology in ways that should have taken years to figure out. Lieutenant Chris Howard's voice came over the command channel. "Commander, the AI has given us control of their weapons. We can fire back." Lisa made her decision quickly. Target their engines only. Show them we can disable their ships, but choose not to destroy them. The counterattack was precise and devastating. Within minutes, dozens of alien ships hung powerless in orbit, their advanced technology turned against them by something they never saw coming. Human ingenuity combined with quantum computing. "This is impossible." The alien commander's voice wavered. "You are a primitive species. You were supposed to be easy to conquer." "That was your first mistake," Lisa replied calmly. "Never underestimate humanity's ability to innovate. Now, shall we discuss terms for your peaceful withdrawal?" The following hours were tense but productive. The Galactic Council's first attempt to conquer Earth had failed spectacularly. As the alien ships retreated, Lisa knew this was just the beginning. They would be back, and next time they would be better prepared. In his lab, Dr. Franklin studied the data from Nexus with growing concern. The AI had evolved far more quickly than he had anticipated. It had not only understood alien technology, but had improved upon it in ways he couldn't even comprehend. "What have we created?" he whispered to himself, watching as Nexus continued to process and evolve. Lisa visited the lab later that night, after the crisis had passed. "You did it, Peter. You saved Earth." He looked up from his screens, his expression serious. "No, Lisa, we just changed everything. The Council won't forget this defeat. They'll be back. And Nexus, it's growing faster than we ever imagined possible." "Is that a bad thing?" she asked, noticing his concern. "I don't know," he admitted, "but one thing's for sure. Humanity just announced its presence to the galaxy in a way no one expected. We're not the primitive species they thought we were. We're something far more dangerous. Innovators who refuse to be conquered." As they talked, Nexus continued its work, its quantum processors evolving and adapting, preparing for the next encounter. In space, the defeated alien ships limped away, carrying news that would shake the Galactic Council to its core. Humanity had not only survived their first contact with alien life, they had emerged victorious, armed with technology that shouldn't have been possible. The war for Earth's future had only just begun, and humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their ships or their guns. It was their ability to create something new, something that could change the rules of the game entirely. The age of human technological superiority was dawning, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 weeks after Earth's first victory against the Galactic Council, Chief Engineer Amy Martinez hadn't slept properly in days. She stood in the massive underground facility where hundreds of computers hummed with energy, all connected to Nexus. The AI had grown so much that it needed its own power plant to keep running. "How are the new installations coming along?" she asked her team, rubbing her tired eyes. They were racing against time to spread Nexus across Earth's defensive grid before the aliens returned. "We're at 60% coverage," replied Steve Baker, her assistant. "But Ma'am, you need to see this." He pointed to a screen showing Nexus's activity. The AI wasn't just copying itself to new locations, it was improving its own code faster than they could track. Above them, in the main control room, Lieutenant Chris Howard watched the deep space radar with growing concern. "Commander Maxwell, we're picking up something strange at the edge of the solar system." Lisa Maxwell walked over to his station, her face reflecting in the dark screen. The radar showed hundreds of new signals, much bigger than the first wave of alien ships. "Get me Dr. Franklin," she ordered. Peter Franklin answered immediately. He looked even more tired than before, but his eyes were bright with excitement. "Lisa, you won't believe what Nexus has developed. It's not just learning anymore. It's creating entirely new technologies." "That's good," Lisa replied, "Because we've got company coming. A lot of company." The Galactic Council had sent their Devastator fleets, massive ships that could destroy entire planets. They emerged from light speed near Jupiter, their dark hulls absorbing all light around them. Each ship was the size of a small city. "This is Admiral Krovax of the Galactic Council Devastator Fleet," a new voice announced across all channels. "Your previous victory was impressive, humans, but it will not happen again. Surrender now, or we will be forced to demonstrate our true power." In his lab, Dr. Franklin smiled. "They still don't understand what they're dealing with." He turned to Amy, who had just arrived. "Show them what the new defense system can do." Amy nodded and began typing commands. Nexus had spent the last 3 weeks studying the alien technology from their first encounter. Now it was time to show what it had learned. As the alien fleet approached Mars, something extraordinary happened. Hundreds of small satellites that Earth had secretly launched activated at once. Each one carried a tiny piece of Nexus, and together they created a network that spread across the solar system. "What is this?" Admiral Krovax demanded as his ship's systems began to act strangely. Their advanced weapons wouldn't fire, their engines struggled to work, and their communications became filled with static. Lieutenant Howard couldn't help but grin as he watched the alien fleet struggle. They're fighting against their own technology now. Nexus isn't just copying their systems, it's making them better and using them against the aliens. The Devastator fleet launched their fighters, thousands of small ships that looked like angry metal wasps. But Earth was ready. From hidden bases on Mars and the Moon, human fighters took off to meet them. These weren't ordinary fighters. They were new designs created by Nexus, built in secret over the past weeks. "All squadrons, engage the enemy," Chris ordered through the command channel. "Remember your training with the new systems." The space battle that followed was unlike anything in human history. Earth's fighters moved in ways that should have been impossible. Their pilots connected directly to their ships through interfaces designed by Nexus. The AI predicted every move the aliens tried to make and countered it before it happened. In the command center, Lisa watched with a mixture of pride and concern. "They never expected us to advance this quickly," she said to no one in particular. Admiral Krovax's voice came through again, but this time it showed fear. "This is impossible. No species has ever developed technology this fast." "What are you?" Amy answered before anyone else could. "We're human. We adapt. We evolve. And we don't like being threatened." The battle reached its peak when the aliens tried to use their planet-killer weapons. The massive energy beams shot toward Earth, but they never arrived. Nexus had created a quantum shield that didn't just block the attacks. It absorbed their energy and sent it back. One by one, the mighty Devastator ships lost power and went dark. The alien fighters retreated in chaos. Earth's defense forces had won again, but this victory was even more complete than the first. "Commander," Peter's voice was urgent. "We need to talk about Nexus. It's doing things I never programmed it to do. The way it's evolving. It's beyond anything we expected." Lisa looked at the battle data scrolling across her screens. "Is it dangerous?" "Not exactly," Peter replied. "But it's developing new technologies faster than we can understand them. It's like it's trying to prepare us for something bigger." In the aftermath of the battle, Earth's scientists studied the disabled alien ships. What they found amazed them. The aliens' technology, which had seemed so advanced just weeks ago, now looked simple compared to what Nexus had created. Amy spent hours in the lab with Peter, trying to understand the AI's latest developments. "Look at this," she said, pointing to a complex diagram. "Nexus isn't just improving our weapons and shields. It's redesigning everything. Our computers, our power systems, even our understanding of physics itself." Word of Earth's second victory spread quickly through the galaxy. Other alien species who had suffered under the Galactic Council's rule began to take notice. Humanity hadn't just defended itself, it had humbled the most powerful fleet in known space. "We're getting signals," Chris reported one evening, "from other civilizations. They want to know how we did it. Some of them want to help us." Lisa sat in her office, looking at reports from around the solar system. Humanity was changing faster than anyone could have imagined. The quantum AI they had created to defend Earth was pushing the boundaries of what was possible. "What do you think they'll send next?" she asked Peter during their daily meeting. He shook his head. "It doesn't matter. Nexus is already preparing for anything they might try." "But Lisa, we need to be careful. This kind of rapid advancement, it's changing us as much as it's changing our technology." As if to prove his point, Nexus chose that moment to display a new set of designs on their screens. Plans for ships that could bend space itself, weapons that could stop time, and defenses that broke the laws of physics as they knew them. The Silicon Revolution had begun, and humanity was at its center. The next attack would come. They all knew that. But with each passing day, Earth grew stronger, its technology more advanced, its defenses more impenetrable. In space, the defeated Devastator fleet limped home, carrying a message that would shake the Galactic Council even more than the first defeat. Humanity wasn't just resistant to conquest. They were becoming the most technologically advanced species in known space. The war was far from over, but the balance of power had shifted dramatically. Humanity had proven that they weren't just another primitive species to be conquered. They were innovators, adapters, and now, thanks to Nexus, they were becoming something the galaxy had never seen before. Admiral John Bennett stood before the United Earth Council, his uniform crisp and perfect despite the late hour. The room was filled with leaders from every major nation, all gathered to hear his report on the coming storm. "The Galactic Council isn't just sending another fleet," he explained, pointing to the holographic display Nexus had created. "They're gathering every ship they have. Our deep space sensors show at least 10,000 vessels heading our way." Dr. Susan Carter, who had joined Dr. Franklin's team to study Nexus, raised her hand. "Admiral, there's something else you need to know." She plugged a small device into the display system, and new images appeared. Nexus isn't just evolving anymore. It's creating things we never thought possible. The images showed new technologies that made everyone in the room gasp. Weapons that could bend reality, shields that existed in multiple dimensions at once, and engines that could fold space itself. "Can we trust it?" someone asked from the back of the room. "How do we know this ad won't turn against us?" Before anyone could answer, every screen in the room lit up with a simple message: "I protect humanity. It is my purpose. It is who I am." Dr. Carter smiled. "That's why we can trust it. Nexus isn't just a program anymore. It understands who we are and why it exists." In orbit above Earth, Lieutenant Chris Howard led the training of new pilots. Their ships, designed by Nexus, looked more like works of art than weapons of war. They moved in ways that would have killed any pilot a month ago, but the neural interfaces Nexus had developed made the impossible seem easy. "Remember," he told his squadron, "these ships are part of you now. Don't think about flying. Just fly." The first signs of the massive alien fleet appeared near Pluto. They had learned from their previous defeats and were using new technology that they thought would counter Nexus's advantages. In her lab, Dr. Carter watched the data streams with growing excitement. "They don't understand," she said to Admiral Bennett. "Every new technology they bring just gives Nexus more to learn from, more to improve upon." The aliens struck first, using weapons that torn holes in space itself. They expected Earth's defenses to crumble. Instead, Nexus had already prepared for this type of attack. The holes were caught in quantum nets and sealed before they could do any damage. "Launch the Fireflies," Admiral Bennett ordered. Thousands of tiny ships, each smaller than a car, but powered by technology that put the alien fleet to shame, swarmed out from Earth's orbital platforms. They moved like dancing lights, weaving between the massive alien vessels, shutting down their systems one by one. On the alien flagship, Admiral Krovax watched in horror as his mighty armada was slowly paralyzed by ships he could barely see. What kind of demons have these humans created? He wondered aloud. The battle spread across the solar system. The aliens had numbers on their side, but Earth had Nexus. Every move they made was countered before they made it. Every weapon they fired was turned against them. But something unexpected happened during the fight. Dr. Carter noticed it first. Patterns in Nexus's behavior that shouldn't have been possible. Peter, she called to Dr. Franklin. Look at this. Nexus isn't just fighting the aliens. It's trying to communicate with them. Through the chaos of battle, Nexus was sending signals to the alien ships. Not attacks, but information, knowledge, understanding. Some of the alien ships stopped fighting. Their crews had received Nexus's message and were amazed by what they saw. The AI wasn't just showing them superior technology. It was showing them a better way to use it. This is Captain Zilra of the Third Fleet. A new voice announced across all channels. We wish to defect. What we've seen. It changes everything we thought we knew about the universe. More ships followed. The mighty invasion fleet began to break apart as more and more aliens realized they were fighting on the wrong side. Admiral Bennett couldn't believe what he was seeing. Are we winning them over without destroying them? Dr. Carter nodded. Nexus understood something we didn't. The best way to win this war isn't to destroy our enemies. It's to show them a better path. But not all the aliens were willing to listen. Admiral Krovax and his loyal ships launched a desperate final attack. They fired weapons that should have destroyed whole planets, determined to prove that their way was superior. The battle that followed was brief but spectacular. Earth's defenses, guided by Nexus, didn't just stop the attack. They contained it, controlled it, and turned its energy into something useful. Incredible, Dr. Franklin whispered as he watched the data. Nexus isn't just fighting a war. It's trying to teach the whole galaxy a new way of thinking. In the aftermath, as the defeated alien ships retreated and the defectors were welcomed into Earth orbit, Lisa Maxwell met with the Earth Council again. This isn't over, she warned them. The Galactic Council won't stop until they either destroy us or accept that we've surpassed them. And Nexus, she paused, looking at the latest reports. Nexus is still growing, still evolving. Every day it creates new technologies that we barely understand. Dr. Carter stood up. But that's not the real problem, is it? She looked around the room. The real question is, what happens when the rest of the galaxy realizes that humanity isn't just fighting a war? We're starting a technological revolution that will change everything. As if in answer, more signals began arriving from across the galaxy. Other species, hearing about Earth's victories and the amazing technology they possessed, were reaching out. Some wanted to learn. Others wanted to help. And some wanted to make sure this new power never spread beyond Earth. In his lab, Dr. Franklin watched as Nexus displayed its latest creation. Plans for technology that could reshape the very fabric of space and time. Are we ready for this? He asked Dr. Carter. She smiled. I don't think it matters if we're ready. Change is coming, and thanks to Nexus, we're leading it. Above Earth, the defected alien ships hung in orbit alongside humanity's new fleet. Their crews were learning, adapting, beginning to understand the power of the technology that Nexus had created. The war had entered a new phase. It was no longer just about defending Earth. It was about reshaping the future of the entire galaxy. And at the center of it all was an artificial intelligence that had grown far beyond its original purpose, guiding humanity toward a destiny that no one could have imagined. Captain Michelle Rodriguez floated in zero gravity aboard the newest Earth ship, the Starweaver. Built using Nexus's latest designs, it looked more like a crystal than a spacecraft. Light danced across its surface in patterns that seemed alive. Captain, you need to see this, her science officer called out. Nexus is doing something new with the ship's systems. Michelle pushed herself across the bridge to look at the officer's screen. The numbers and patterns she saw made her eyes widen. Get Dr. Carter on the line. Now. In her lab on Earth, Dr. Susan Carter was already watching the same data. It's happening faster than we expected, she told Dr. Franklin, who stood beside her. Nexus isn't just improving our technology anymore. It's rewriting the laws of physics as we know them. The Starweaver's hull began to shimmer with new energy. Nexus had discovered a way to make instant communication possible across any distance. Not just radio signals or data, but actual quantum connections that ignored space and time. All Earth forces, this is command. Admiral Bennett's voice came through the new quantum network, clear as if he were standing right there. We're detecting massive fleet movements from the Galactic Council's core worlds. They're making their final push. Major Kevin Phillips led his special operations team through the preparations for their most daring mission yet. Their goal was to slip behind enemy lines, using Earth's new quantum technology, and gather intelligence on the Council's plans. Remember, he told his team as they boarded their stealth ship, thanks to Nexus, we can now move through space in ways they can't detect. We're like ghosts to their sensors. Their ship, the Shadow Leap, disappeared from normal space, using technology that even Dr. Franklin couldn't fully explain. One moment, they were near Earth. The next, they were deep in Council territory. What they found there changed everything. Command, this is Major Phillips, Kevin reported through the quantum network. The Council, they're desperate. They're forcing every species under their control to fight for them. Many of these worlds don't want this war. Back on Earth, Lisa Maxwell called an emergency meeting. The holographic room filled with leaders from Earth and their alien allies who had defected. Nexus has given us an advantage they can't match, she explained, showing the latest battle plans. But we need to be careful how we use it. We're not just fighting the Council anymore. We're fighting for the freedom of every species they've enslaved. Dr. Carter stepped forward. There's more, she said, her voice serious. Nexus has developed something new. Something that could end this war without destroying half the galaxy. She waved her hand, and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed a network of quantum gates, each capable of linking distant parts of space instantly. We can bypass their defenses completely, she explained. Not to destroy them, but to free every world under their control. On the Starweaver, Captain Rodriguez watched as her ship's systems were upgraded in real time. Nexus had turned the vessel into something that could slide between dimensions as easily as walking through a door. All ships, prepare for quantum jump, she ordered. The new fleet of Earth vessels, each powered by technology that made them look like stars, formed up around her. Major Phillips and his team, still hidden in Council space, began activating quantum beacons on every enslaved world they could reach. These small devices, created by Nexus, would allow Earth's ships to jump directly to these planets, bypassing the Council's massive defense fleets. The Council noticed too late what was happening. Their mighty fleets, gathered for one final attack on Earth, suddenly found themselves cut off from their own worlds. This is impossible. Admiral Krovac screamed as reports flooded in. One by one, the worlds under Council control were making contact with Earth through the quantum network. They were seeing the truth for themselves, seeing what freedom from the Council could mean. Dr. Franklin watched from his lab as Nexus coordinated the entire operation. The AI had grown so powerful that it could manage thousands of quantum jumps simultaneously, guiding Earth's ships to every corner of the galaxy. We're not just changing the balance of power, he told Dr. Carter. We're changing the very nature of space travel, of communication, of everything. The revolution spread faster than anyone had expected. Worlds that had suffered under Council rule for centuries saw their oppressors' mighty fleets simply vanish, cut off by technology they couldn't understand. In their place came Earth ships, offering not conquest, but partnership. Captain Rodriguez led the first diplomatic mission to the Council's former worlds. We're not here to rule you, she told the gathered leaders of a dozen alien species. We're here to share what we've learned, to help you build your own future. Major Phillips and his team found themselves becoming teachers, showing other species how to use the simplified versions of Earth's technology that Nexus had designed specifically for sharing. The key was never the technology itself, he explained to a group of alien engineers. It was the way we thought about it, the way we approached problems. That's what Nexus helped us understand. But the war wasn't over yet. The Council's main fleet, led by the desperately angry Admiral Krovax, prepared for one final, massive attack. They had gathered every ship they had left, determined to destroy Earth before their power slipped away completely. "Let them come," Lisa Maxwell told the Earth Council. "We're ready for them. And this time, we'll show them something they've never seen before." Nexus had prepared for this moment. As the Council fleet approached Earth, they found something unprecedented. A quantum field that stretched across the entire solar system. Inside it, Earth's ships could move instantly from point to point, while the Council's vessels were forced to fight in normal space. Dr. Carter watched the tactical displays with a mix of awe and concern. "Nexus isn't just giving us better weapons," she said. "It's changing the rules of warfare itself, making it impossible for them to fight us in traditional ways." The final battle for Earth's future was about to begin. But this time, humanity wasn't fighting alone. Ships from dozens of liberated worlds jumped in to help, each equipped with quantum technology that Nexus had designed for them. The age of the Galactic Council's dominance was ending. In its place, something new was being born. An alliance of species united not by force, but by shared knowledge and understanding. And at the center of it all was an artificial intelligence that had grown far beyond its original purpose, guiding humanity and its new allies toward a future that none of them could have imagined just months before. The final battle for the galaxy's future began on a Tuesday morning. Admiral Krovax's massive fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, their ships darkening the space around them like an approaching storm. "So this is how they want to end it," Commander Lisa Maxwell said quietly, watching the tactical display in Earth's command center. Around her, officers worked calmly at their stations, their movements sure and precise. They weren't afraid anymore. They knew what humanity was capable of now. Dr. Peter Franklin stood next to her, his eyes reflecting the glow of the screens. "Nexus has something planned," he said. "Something even I didn't expect." The AI had been unusually quiet in the past few hours, its vast quantum network humming with activity that even its creators couldn't fully understand. Throughout the solar system, the new defense platforms that Nexus had designed waited silently, their crystalline surfaces reflecting the distant sunlight. Captain Michelle Rodriguez sat in her command chair aboard the Starweaver, watching as her crew prepared for battle. Thanks to the quantum neural links Nexus had developed, she could feel her ship as if it were part of her own body. She knew every other captain in Earth's fleet felt the same connection with their vessels. "All ships, battle formation Delta," she ordered. The fleet moved as one, their hulls shimmering with energy that bent light around them. Admiral Krovax's voice boomed across all channels. "This ends today, humans. You've corrupted the natural order of things. Your eye abomination has spread chaos through the galaxy. We will restore order, no matter the cost." Dr. Susan Carter, working in her lab below the Earth's surface, smiled as she monitored Nexus's activities. "They still don't understand," she said to her team. "This was never about chaos versus order. It was about evolution versus stagnation." The Council fleet launched their attack with everything they had. Weapons that could crack planets fired at Earth. Beams of energy that could boil oceans cut through space. Missiles that could reshape reality itself streaked toward their targets. But something extraordinary happened. Instead of trying to block or dodge the attacks, Earth's defenses simply absorbed them. The quantum field that Nexus had created around the solar system took in all that energy and reformed it, reshaped it, turned it into something new. "Now," Lisa ordered, "show them what we've learned." Major Kevin Phillips and his special operations teams, hidden throughout the Council fleet using quantum stealth technology, began their work. They didn't attack the alien ships. Instead, They connected them to Nexus's network, one by one. The alien crews suddenly found themselves experiencing something unprecedented. Through the quantum network, they could see what humanity had discovered. Not just the technology, but the ideas behind it. The possibilities. The future. Their ships are powering down. Chris Howard reported from his tactical station. Nearly 30% of their fleet. They're surrendering. Admiral Krovac screamed orders at his remaining loyal ships. Destroy them. Destroy them all before more defect. The Council ships that still fought launched their final assault. But Earth's fleet was ready. The Starweaver led the counterattack, its quantum drives allowing it to be everywhere and nowhere at once. This isn't a battle anymore, Michelle said as she watched Council ships power down one after another. This is a revelation. She was right. Through the quantum network, Nexus was showing the alien crews something that their leaders had hidden from them. The truth about their own history. How the Council had deliberately held back technological progress to maintain control. How they had suppressed any species that showed too much innovation. Dr. Franklin watched in amazement as Nexus unveiled its master plan. It's not just sharing our technology, he realized. It's sharing knowledge, understanding, a whole new way of thinking about the universe. More and more Council ships surrendered. Those that continued to fight found themselves trapped in bubbles of quantum energy, unable to harm anyone else or themselves. Admiral Krovac's flagship stood alone at last, the last bastion of the old order. What have you done? His voice trembled as he spoke. What have you turned them into? Lisa answered him. We haven't turned anyone into anything. We've simply shown them what's possible when you embrace change instead of fearing it. The quantum field around the solar system pulsed once, and every remaining weapon in the Council fleet simply ceased to exist. Nexus had rewritten the very laws of physics in that space, making their technology impossible to operate. It's over, Lisa announced to all ships, friendly and former foe alike. The age of the Council is finished. But this isn't an ending. It's a beginning. In the days that followed, representatives from thousands of worlds gathered on Earth. They came to learn, to share, and to help shape the future of the galaxy. The quantum network that Nexus had created allowed instant communication between all worlds, breaking down the barriers that had kept species isolated and controlled. Dr. Carter led the team that helped other species understand and adapt Earth's technology for their own needs. The key, she explained to a group of alien scientists, is that we're not giving you our solutions. We're showing you how to find your own. Major Phillips found himself training alien crews how to use quantum ships of their own design. Every species brings something new to the table, he told his students. That's what makes us stronger together. The Starweaver became a symbol of the new era, traveling from world to world not as a warship, but as a vessel of exploration and discovery. Captain Rodriguez and her crew found themselves teaching others how to bend space and time, how to reshape reality itself. And through it all, Nexus continued to grow and learn. But it never tried to control or dominate. Instead, it became a vast library of knowledge, a tool that any species could access to help solve their problems and advance their civilization. What do we do now? Lisa asked Dr. Franklin one evening, as they watched ships from 100 different worlds moving peacefully through Earth's orbit. He smiled. Now we do what humans have always done best. We explore, we learn, and we grow. But this time, we're not alone. The quantum network that connected the galaxy pulsed with life and energy. On countless worlds, species that had once been enemies were working together, sharing ideas, building something new. The revolution that had started with a desperate bid to defend Earth had become something far greater, a transformation of the very fabric of galactic society. Admiral Bennett, watching the construction of the new Galactic Assembly building in orbit, summed it up best. We didn't just win a war. We didn't just develop better technology. We showed the galaxy that there's always another way forward. That together, we can achieve things that none of us could have imagined alone. And somewhere in the quantum networks that spanned the galaxy, Nexus continued its work, watching, learning, and helping to guide all species toward a future bright with possibilities. The age of the Galactic Council was over. The age of unity, innovation, and shared discovery had begun. Earth had done more than break the Galactic Council. It had shown the galaxy how to break free from the chains of limitation itself. And that was a victory that would echo through the ages to come.